merciful. A very good evening and assalamu alaikum to all our viewers around the globe who have just joined, who have just tuned in to Question Time on Islam Live from the Ahlebait studios with your host Naveed Hussain. Our Islamic scholar Syed Muhammad Musawi once again joins us this evening for our viewers to send in their questions, to call in with their questions or any comments that you would like to share with our Islamic scholar. And our Islamic scholar, inshallah ta'ala, will try his utmost best to answer your questions or clarify any doubts that you may have. Sayyidina, a very good evening to you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah bless you and all our brothers and sisters who are with us this evening and all mu'mineen and mu'minat. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. All praise due to Allah, and may His best salutation be on His most humble servants Muhammad and his holy progeny Ahlul Bayt. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajjil farajahum. I would like to start mentioning one of the hadiths, narrations from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam, the sixth Imam, the only Imam among the Muslim sects. As you know, there are 4 Sunni sects: Hanafi, Shafi'i, Maliki, and Hanbali. None of them could say that he is narrating from the Prophet 100%. Always they narrated from X, Y, Z. The only Imam who narrated from his father, from his grandfather, from his great-grandfather, from Amir al-Mu'mineen, from the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him and his progeny, is Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam, who said clearly, hadithi hadithu Abid. What I say is from my father, and that is from my grandfather, and that is from my great-grandfather, and that is from Amir al-Mu'mineen, and that is from the Prophet himself. So whatever Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam said is from the Prophet himself. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq and all our Imams never give their own opinion. Abu Hanifa and Shafi'i and Malik and Ibn Hanbal have different opinions. After all, they are human beings. So you find in one matter different opinions. But the 12 Imams of Ahlul Bayt have no difference in opinion in any matter, because they don't give any opinion. They narrate exactly what the Prophet said. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam, the greatest teacher in the history of human being. Of course, the Prophet Muhammad is the greatest teacher, but the Prophet Muhammad, be peace and blessing be upon him and his progeny, did not get chance in his lifetime to teach such big number of people as Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq got. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam, in one of the narrations says, Ashrafu, of course he narrated from the Prophet. He said that the Prophet of Islam said, Ashrafu ummati, the honorable persons in my ummah are, listen, Hamalatul Quran wa Ashabul Layl. He did not say that honorable people in my ummah, those who have got more money or those who have got post and government or followers. No. He said, the honorable persons in my ummah, those who carry Quran, means reciting and most importantly, implementing the orders of Quran, and Ashabul Layl, those who worship Allah during the night. These are the honorable people among this ummah of the Prophet of Islam. Quran and worshipping in the night. As you know, worshiping in the night prayer, Salatul Layl, Tahajjud, Namaz al-Shab is a great act of worship which makes the person elevated in the degrees in the paradise, as Allah in Quran mentioned, وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَتَهَجَّدْ بِهِ نَافِلَةً لَكَ عَسَىٰ أَن يَبْعَثَكَ رَبُّكَ مَقَامًا مَحْمُودًا. From the night, perform tahajjud, the recommended prayers in the night, so that your Lord may elevate your status in the day of judgment. This is the saying of the Prophet of Islam, narrated by his great grandson Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam. Yes, please.
Thank you very much indeed, Sayyidina, for that lovely opening of the show this evening. Sayyidina, many of us, especially in the West, we have a routine in our lives, day in, day out, the same routine. You wake up, you go to work, and then it starts all over again the following day. And it becomes it leads to becoming bored, it leads to becoming lazy, it leads to becoming very slack in your performance as a human being in development. So that question is, how do we make each and every day with positive energy, with motivation, cutting out the boredom and the laziness, which unfortunately is among many of us, especially in the West?
Yes. How to make every day more interested, and how to be away from the boring practice. Yes, this is exactly what those who have got love of Allah in their hearts feel. Starting from opening your eyes. When you open your eyes, your head is still on the pillow. You start thanking Allah who granted you new life.
Subhanallah.
When you open our eyes, we say, Alhamdulillah, alladhi ahyana ba'da an amatana wa ilayhi nushur. Thanking Allah who granted us new life. As you know, sleeping is one type of death. So when you wake up, as you know, many people sleep and never wake up. But when we wake up, we thank Allah who granted us new life. So that is a good news, a news of happiness, that we start a new life. One of the characteristics of the believer, according to Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, yusbihu fariha. The mu'min, when he starts his day with happiness.
Subhanallah. Subhanallah.
The mu'min starts his day with happiness, thanking Allah for the bounty, the gift of new life. And then life is never boring with him, because he is earning in every second, in every moment, in every breath, gaining more reward, more degrees, more happiness, more peace in his heart. He is achieving, the mu'min is achieving in every word he says, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, Astaghfirullah, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad, Ya Allah, Ya Rabbah, Ya Ilahi. Any word which comes from the tongue of the mu'min and from his heart, talking to Allah, elevates him and makes his life meaning life, with meaning, with taste, because he is achieving and achieving. Those who feel bored, they do feel bored because they think that they are not getting anything new. The person who go to his work, job, he knows that his salary is fixed and he won't get more than his salary. So he feels that he is bored. But the believer always knows that more good deeds he does, more elevation, more achievements. This feeling of achievement itself, the feeling of achievement itself gives life a nice taste. And we don't have any believer who lives with the love of Allah and the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt who feels bored at all. So the matter is the vision. Our vision is not what is in this limited life. Our vision is more than that. Of course, when we obey Allah and enjoy the love of Allah and the obedience of Allah, our life here will be successful and hereafter will be as well. So to be away from the state of being bored is to widen the vision and to always live with the love of Allah, the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt, and be always in new achievements. New achievements means new taste, means interested life, means everything is, and every day you have got something new, and you have got a new degree and new status you are trying to reach to.
Thank you very much indeed. We have a caller with us. Assalamu alaikum. I would just like to remind our callers who call in, you will be put on hold for a few minutes or so. Or yeah, they've called back. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum. Brother, please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Just
two quick questions.
Yes.
First is, if any Shia organization organize a Dua Kumail program by hiring a church, which is active church at the moment, is it permissible to go to church to attend Dua Kumail program? Secondly, if they also arrange namaz to be performed in a church which is still active, again, they do their services on Sunday, is it allowed to pray at church as well? Thank you.
Thank you, Jazakallah, for your question. Thank you.
The answer, yes, it is permissible to organize Dua Kumail in any church. It is also permissible to arrange namaz, whether Jum'ah or Jama'at, in church. No harm at all, as far as the place where you put your forehead for namaz, sajda, must be tahir. Usually the mu'mineen take with them their sajdagah, muhr, the clay. So no harm at all, as far as you have got your own prayer mats where you pray, and no possibility of najis item to touch you while you are praying salah. So no objection at all in praying in any place at all. Yes, please.
Thank you very much indeed, Sayyidina. So a question here, assalamu alaikum, Sayyidina. I have found a dress of my grandmother. I want to keep it and rear it as to honor her memory. But I've heard from people that as Muslim, we don't keep things of a deceased person and must give it away to charity as a way to help the soul of the departed. Is this true? Is it not good to keep a dress of a deceased person and wear it?
What you heard that Muslims should give the dress of the deceased is not accurate. No, we don't have in Islam any order that we must give all the cloth of the deceased to charity. If you want to give, yes, you can give, but it is not obligatory at all to give the cloth of the deceased to charity. After all, the cloth of the deceased belong to those who inherited the deceased, children or spouse, those who are the inheritors. So every one of them has got his designated share. If this piece of cloth comes under your ownership, then you are free to do whatever you want to do with that cloth. If it is under your ownership, but if it is still owned by all the inheritance, then you need to take their permission before using it. But at the end of the bottom line of the answer, it is not obligatory to give all the cloth or any of the cloth of the deceased to charity. It is, after all, your option, means the option of the owners. And who are the owners after the deceased? Those who inherit from him.
Thank you very much, Sayyidina. So the question, Assalamu alaikum, is it allowed to recite or listen the long du'as like Du'a Kamal without wuzu? So, I mean, you could go with for ziyarah, ashura, ziyarat arba, any other dua or ziyarat without wuzu.
Is it permissible to recite Du'a Kumail or Ziyarat Ashura or any dua or any ziyarah without wuzu? The answer is yes, it is allowed.
Okay.
Yes, it is allowed. Of course, it is recommended generally to be with wuzu. Generally, always it is recommended for every believer to be with wuzu as much as she or he can. Reciting the dua or the ziyarat is not like namaz. Namaz cannot be performed without wuzu. Wudu is obligatory in namaz. But ziyarat and dua are not like namaz, so it is permissible, it is allowed to recite dua or ziyarat without wuzu. And we keep also in mind that if we can perform wudu, it will be better. Better means we'll get more reward, but not, it is not a must, not obligatory.
And Sayyidina, if are you allowed to, for example, when you're lying down in bed before you go to sleep, can you recite the Quran or the dua or the ziyarat while lying down in bed?
Yes, it is permissible. Yes, it is permissible to recite Quran and recite anything while you are resting. In fact, it is recommended when you go to bed. It is recommended that when you go to bed, recite Ayatul Kursi and recite Surah Al-Falaq and Surah Al-Nas and Qul Huwa Allahu Ahad and Al-Kafirun, which is known by Charqul. When you go to bed, it is recommended for you to recite these Quranic surahs. So it is permissible to recite Quran while you are lying on bed.
Thank you very much indeed, Sayyidina. So the next question, at 10 p.m. in Manchester, it is Maghrib time, and we need to perform the prayers. But when I look outside through the upstairs window, there is still a lot of reddish color in the sky. Can I recite the Maghrib namaz in this situation?
Reddish color in the sky, which side? Is it east or west? That's the question. Because we have got two sides, east and west.
Right, okay.
If, you know, the Maghrib time starts when the reddishness after the sun, when the sun sets down, on the same direction, after 10-15 minutes, the reddishness vanishes. That reddishness going, then Maghrib time started. We have got other reddishness, which is on the opposite side, which we call it Al-Humra, the other side, where the sun, let me be more clear. The sun sets on the west, right? Sun sets on the west. The opposite direction of the west, the opposite means in the east. That reddishness must vanish. The sun here in the opposite side, the reddishness going means real Maghrib started. That reddishness should go before we start Namaz Maghrib. And the time of it after sunset, 10 to 15 minutes, or maybe more or less, depending on the country and the season. We have got reddishness in the same direction, same place of the sunset, which we call it the reddishness on the west. That does not go but only till Namaz Isha, maybe 1 hour or more after the time of Maghrib. After all, in the northern areas in Europe, the situation during the summer is unusual. I advise you to follow the timetable of trusted Shia Islamic Center and pray your prayers according to that timetable.
Thank you very much indeed, Syed. So the second question was, what is the difference between Allahumma la'an qatalat al-Hussain and Allahumma la'an qatalat al-Hussain?
Same. In Arabic, same meaning. In Arabic, Allahumma la'an qatalat al-Hussain. We don't, in Arabic, in Arabic language, we say Allahumma is, oh Allah. Il'an, curse. Qatalat al-Hussain, those who killed Imam Hussain alayhi salam. In Arabic. Non-Arabs, sometimes they did in parts. Allahumma il'an qatalat al-Hussain. That is only way of reading it, but the meaning is same.
Thank you very much, Syed. So the next question, please let me know if Dua Nudba is authenticated and should not be recited. I heard this recently.
Dua and Nudba is an authentic dua. It is an authentic dua. It has been narrated by well-known scholars like Al-Mashhadi in his book Al-Mazar. Don't listen to XYZ. There are nowadays some people who claim to be sheikhs or Maulwis, and they have no deep knowledge, and they come and listen from anyone, anything, and they come out and speak out without real verification. Dua Nudba is authentic. Dua Iftitah is authentic. Dua Tawassul is authentic. Anyone who claims something different, we ask him to give his evidence. We have got the evidence. So be careful. Don't listen to anyone who tries to create doubt in whose benefit. Who will be the beneficiary of creating doubt about the dua from Ahlul Bayt? Only the enemies of Ahlul Bayt. So be careful from such type of people. If you know that they are good people, then please advise them with respect. Please go and do more tahqiq, more research, or at least refer to the marja of taqleed. You have less knowledge, go to those who have got more knowledge than you and seek their help.
Thank you very much indeed, Shaykh. Shaykh, is it permissible to think about the suffering of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam when reciting salawat during the namaz?
Yes, it is. It is. It is permissible to think about the sufferings of Ahlul Bayt while we are praying salah. And even if someone while praying salah, he remembers the tragedy of Ahlul Bayt and he cries, he weeps, that is also permissible.
Thank you very
much.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, in salah, crying invalidates salah. If someone cries during namaz for any matter of dunya, say he has lost something in his business, or he lost his job, or whatever, for any reason of dunya, crying during salah will make salah invalid. You know, there are some acts which invalidate salah, like eating, drinking, laughing, talking, any matter of dunya. I mean, you cannot tell someone while salah, open the door, or take the telephone. You cannot. Your salah will be invalid. One of the things which invalidates salah is crying for worldly matters, but crying from the fear of Allah, crying remembering akhirat, crying for the tragedies of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam is permissible. Not only permissible, it is very good.
Thank you very much indeed, Sayyidina. Sayyidina, during namaz, unfortunately, sometimes my thoughts stray away from the dhikr. Is it allowed to repeat the dhikr to bring my mind back to the dhikr?
Yes, it is allowed. Of course, it is allowed to repeat the dhikr as many times as you want to bring back your mind, your intention. Yes, yes, of course. We have got a narration from one of the students of Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam. He said, I prayed salah behind Imam Ja'far Sadiq at his home. You know, that time Imam Ja'far Sadiq was under pressure from the tyrant rulers. Imam Ja'far Sadiq lived in a time when the Umayyad government was going down and the Abbasid government was starting. When the Abbasid ruler Abu Ja'far al-Mansur became strong, he came openly against Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, and he tried to kill him 6 times. 6 times he sent poison, and he ordered the ruler of Medina on his behalf to set fire in the house of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. And that ruler came and brought the fuel and set fire on the house of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. So that did happen in the life of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi as-salam. Yes, please.
Thank you very much, Syed. Said that if parents force a girl or a boy to give divorce or separate from their spouse, would that be considered a legitimate divorce? Will the parents be considered sinners?
Number one, divorce under pressure is invalid. Divorce under pressure is invalid. One of the conditions of divorce, of course, divorce is the most disliked act in Islam. Most disliked. أبغض الحلال عند الله الطلاق. The most disliked act, which is not haram, but most disliked to Allah, is talaq. But talaq also has got conditions. If you compare between the rules in Shia Islam and rules in other sects, you will find that other sects take talaq very easy, up to the extent that if someone is angry and tells his wife, talaq, 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 finished. Their life finished, broken. In Shia Islam, such talaq of anger has no value. In Islam of Ahlul Bayt, there is no 3 talaqs at all in one time, at all. In Islam of Ahlul Bayt, talaq cannot be valid if there is no at least two pious witnesses of men. Pious men witnessing the talaq. If he told his wife talaq, not in front of 2 pious men. Pious means what? A person who does not commit sins. Not ma'soom, but does not commit sins in his usual life. Even if he does wrong, he repents and seeks forgiveness. So this is also one of the conditions of valid talaq. One of the conditions of valid talaq, that talaq should not be under pressure. Any talaq said, done, performed, announced under pressure, whether from parents, from family, from government, from anyone, under any pressure, that talaq is invalid. So the parents forcing talaq, that talaq is invalid. The other part is are the parents sinners when they force their son or daughter for talaq? The answer is yes. Break a house without reason. It should be a valid reason. A valid reason. You see, in case husband is very bad person and he is trying to spoil the religion of his wife, for example, forcing her to go out with him without hijab, or forcing her to join him going to nightclubs, or to drink alcohol, or to do any haram, that marriage is causing damage to the religion of the wife. That is a valid reason for her to ask for talaq. But if there is no valid reason, just because of any dispute, misunderstanding, fight between the parents and the man or the women, or the man or his parents, or the woman or her parents, sometimes they say, give her talaq after a fight. That is not valid. So the parents are not allowed to force talaq when there is no valid reason to terminate the marriage.
Thank you very much. And you said now. So does Islam consider feminism or any part of it inadmissible?
Sorry, I didn't hear the...
Does Islam consider feminism or any part of it inadmissible?
what is the meaning of feminism? We need to define the terms properly, because feminism, according to Mr. A, is different from feminism which is claimed by Mrs. A or Mr. B. We need to define the term properly, then we will know what Islam says about it. Islam is for justice. Islam says, وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. For females, from the rights, like the duties on them. So, justice. Islam applies justice on both man and woman without any difference. No discrimination at all because of the gender. If the people who claim feminism mean justice for the women, Islam is more just for women than them. Why? Because some people who claim feminism, they advocate against second marriage, and they say that the government should allow prostitution. They say that the government should allow prostitution. How can you ask the government to accept prostitution and you claim that you are for the rights of the women? Those women who will be indulged in prostitution are not human beings. Why you want to make them like animals being misused by men who give them money? Where is the dignity of the women in it? In short, first of all, we need to define the meaning of feminism. Then you'll know and you will see that Islam and its rules has given the woman the best level of respect. I was in 1999, and I'm now telling you this in front of many people, and you can record it. In 1999, I was in World Conference of Religions, which was held in South Africa, in a city called Cape Town. One of the participants who was in the conference was Nelson Mandela, the well-known personality. We had discussion together. Nelson Mandela himself, he said that I have never seen a respect for the women among all the civilizations and the countries I read about like what it is in Shia Islam. He said, I have visited Iran and saw the dignity and the standard of the human rights of the women. There, it was wonderful, which cannot be compared with any other country at all. So Islam is for the full rights, best rights, constructive rights, not the right to make the women prostitutes. No, to make the woman real human being, respected whether she is young or not young, whether she is pretty or not pretty. She is, after all, a human being with full respect, with full rights.
Thank you very much indeed, Sayyidina, and of course sharing your story as well. Jazakallah, Sayyidina. Sayyidina, can I take acne medicine containing gelatin if there is no substitute available?
Gelatin, sometimes the medicine is to be consumed from mouth, and sometimes the medicine is to be applied like ointment or cream. If it is ointment or cream, there's no harm at all. Even if the medicine is najis, it is permissible to apply it. The only thing that if it is najis, if it is definitely najis, then you need to wash it before performing your salah. But if you want to consume gelatin, then gelatin should not be from animal source. The gelatin should not be from animal, because animal gelatin is najis unless it is taken from halal slaughtered animal. Nowadays, there are many companies manufacturing vegetable gelatin, and even medicine. There are many companies manufacturing the medicine which is either vegetarian or vegan. So try to take that gelatin which is not from animal source.
Thank you very much indeed, Sayyidina. So the next question, can I perform a mut'a with Ahl Kitab while I am permanently married?
No, you cannot. It is not permissible for a Muslim man who is married permanently with Muslim woman to have mut'a marriage with a woman from Ahlul Kitab unless his Muslim woman permits him, and that is usually not practical, not possible. Usually, I don't know whether your wife agrees or not, but the marji of taqleed says that as far as you have got a Muslim permanent wife, you are not allowed to have mut'a marriage with a woman from Ahlul Kitab without the permission of your Muslim wife.
Thank you very much. Sayyidina, assalamu alaikum. How many times is la'na mentioned in the Holy Quran? I mean, on whom is Allah's la'na? Who does Allah
the la'na? I mean, the curse is mentioned in the Quran in 39 places. 39 places in Quran, Allah has mentioned cursing the zalimin, the wrongdoers, cursing the kadibin, the liars, cursing those who hurt the Prophet, cursing the people who put accusation and harm the innocents. We have got 39 places in Quran when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned cursing people who are entitled to be cursed. Not only cursing, but ordering the believers to curse. Allah says, أُولَٰئِكَ يَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّاعِنُونَ. Not only that Allah curses them, but Allah is ordering every believer to curse those people. So that is very clear in Quran. Of course, Allah curses those who are damaging, who are wrongdoers, who are arrogant, who do very bad acts and insist on that. Allah curses them and orders us to curse them to keep us away from them and from their evil deeds.
Thank you very much indeed, Sayyidina. Sayyidina, assalamu alaikum. My daughter lives independently and has moved away from religion and the Ahlul Bayt. Can you recommend any du'as or a'mal for her to come back on the path of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam?
A'mal for her or for you? For you as parent, you keep on repeating, رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين. A Quranic dua. If you want to send an email to the program, I'll inshallah send you this verse in writing. This is one. About her, what she should do if she is willing to come back to Allah and Ahlul Bayt, then she has to repeat istighfar, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah as many times as she can. And also she needs to repeat Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad as many times as she can. Istighfar will omit her sins, and salawat will enlighten her heart. And then when the heart is enlightened, that will bring her back to the light of the guidance from Allah, the Prophet, and Ahlul Bayt. May Allah guide her, and may Allah protect her and protect all our sons and daughters from the evil of shaitan and the evil of bad company. As you know, many of the young people are deviated because of the bad company, bad friends. They go to trips, picnic with bad people, and they come back influenced by them. Pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the protection of all our children, all our young ones from every evil.
Thank you very much, Syed. Now, Sayyidina, is it wajib on me to pay nafaqa for 3 months to my divorced wife during her iddah period?
Yes, it is obligatory. Yes. Yes, when a person divorces his wife, it is obligatory on the husband to pay all her expenses, which is called nafaqa, for 3 months, which is the iddah period after the divorce. In fact, after the divorce, you are not allowed to ask her to leave home. And she is also not allowed to leave home. Allah says, لا تخرجوهن. Don't ask them to leave. Allah says, ولا يخرجن. They should not leave. 3 months of iddah. The wife was just divorced, should remain at home. And there is no hijab between her and her husband. Because after talaq, 3 months, the waiting period, she is not totally divorced, not finally divorced. The divorce is not final, not yet completed. Within the 3 months, she should remain at home, and no hijab between her and her husband who divorced her. And it is recommended for her, while she is at home with her husband, to wear nice dress, to wear nice perfume, to look like more beautiful. That is in Islam. Why? Because Islam encourages patching up. Within the 3 months, if he comes and puts his hand on her, touches her, then talaq is void, and she is back to her husband without new agreement of marriage, because that is within the iddah period. Any word from him, if he tells her, I love you, if he tells her, let us come back, let us anyway patch up, if he touches her, then talaq is finished, and she is again his wife, and as if nothing happened. So in short, within the 3 months, the nafaqa, the expenses of the wife who has just been divorced is the responsibility of her husband.
Thank you very much indeed, Syed. Syed, next question. Those who are born after a mannat or a nazar, are there some requirements from them? Do they have to be more careful as compared to other Muslims towards religious practices and life decisions?
Those who are
born after a mannat or a nazar.
Okay. A person who was born after a mannat or nazar, yes, he has to be careful, because a person who has been gifted by Allah to his parents after a mannat means he was being gifted. He should not disobey Allah, because disobeying Allah can make the bounty go back. Means Allah can withdraw any bounty which is not thanked by the person. Yes, please.
Thank you very much indeed. So, what type of games are permissible to play?
What types of games are permissible to play?
Yeah.
Any game which does not include gambling, which does not include bad manners. Games nowadays, some games are teaching the children violence, which is wrong. We should not allow our children to play violent games. Some games teach children how to cheat, how to deceive, how to lie. That also is not permissible. Some games nowadays, yes, some games nowadays are teaching children bad sexual behavior, which is against Islam and against every religion. We have to be careful from such games. So the game which does not contain any harmful practice and no violence and no tricks, teaching children how to cheat, how to deceive, how to hide things on others. So if the game is clean and plain and clear, then game is permissible, as far as it does not take excessive time, because the time spent on the games should not go beyond the limit. We cannot let the children playing for 10 hours or 6 hours. I mean, the playing should be within the frame of organization, discipline. The children should play, study, practice, do exercise, do other good things, and play as well. So all these factors should be considered and to be kept in balance. And that's it regarding this matter. Of course, there are more details which might be mentioned in the future, inshallah. We say that be careful. Don't let your children play any game. And be careful. Don't let your child spend a lot of time in playing games. That will make his mind paralyzed. That will make his mind hollow. That will harm his thinking abilities. Make it in balance. Yes, please.
Thank you very much indeed, Syed. Now we have come to the end of the show this evening. I'd like to thank you